Hi, I'm Ed Beard, and this is my instruction on contour line techniques. Part 1, the dragon theme. Don't forget to check out Part 2, shading techniques. Now when I begin a drawing, I like to select a decent paper. I use the Strathmore Drawing Paper 300 series, which is a medium surface drawing paper intended for most dry media pen or ink or pencil. I like to use the ProArt and or the Derwent series of graphite pencils. I'm using a 2B starting this drawing. Now when I begin a drawing, especially of a dragon, with contour lines, I tend to start with the center. In this case I worked with the nostrils, the lower part of the snout, and I worked my way up through the bridge of the nose, did one of the eye sockets, the chin. I'm now currently working on the mouth area, but I'm dancing around, I'm going back and forth, and the reason for this is I'm trying to keep in mind as I do the other eye socket, and then I go back down to the mouth and pull in the cheekbone, and then the brow and the forehead. I want to make sure I'm maintaining symmetry, a certain degree of symmetry, as well as the correct perspective. In this case, it would be foreshortening, because as I bring the head into the neck and around, a little bit later on in the demo, I'm going to need to make sure I keep that in mind. Same thing with the horns. I'm always keeping in consideration the perspective, the foreshortening, making sure that everything seems to be flowing on the right angle. A lot of times, artists that are, especially when they're sketching and or doing preliminary line drawing like this, they tend to get caught up in the details and forget about looking at the overall structure, balance, and composition of a drawing. It's crucially important to do that. That's why you'll notice that I kind of skip around a little bit. I pull my arm back. I take a moment to look at the piece and see how I'm going. Now right about here, I'm starting to incorporate some of the scales, almost like the armor, if you will. And every line, the angle of the line is going to be really, really important, because as I come around with that neck, I want to give the impression that the back body of the dragon is closer to the viewer and the neck is going outward as it turns around and he looks back at you. And in order to do this, I've got to have the lines in the right position. Now, sometimes people say to me, how are you doing this without reference material? This particular image from start to finish took me a little over 15, 16 minutes. This, of course, is on fast forward. But I always tell them, I say, if you study your anatomy, be it reptile, horse anatomy, actually chicken anatomy, believe it or not, a lot of that incorporates what goes into a dragon. Also human anatomy. I especially add some human anatomy as I get into the shoulders right about now, where the neck went into the traps or the shoulders. I move into the scapular area, the deltoid, and then the arms of the dragon. I like to utilize the base of human anatomy, same thing with the back, then bringing it into the wings, which I utilize bat anatomy, basically, bat wing anatomy. These are the things you need to study, and then if you do study it and you practice it redundantly over the years that I've done it for, you pretty much have a Rolodex in your mind of all of these different images, and you understand the functionality of anatomy. It helps you tremendously when you're designing things. Now here I just completed some of the bone structure of the wing. I'm drawing the membrane indication lines right now that is the skin in between each of those bones of the wing. And I'm keeping in mind that the reason I'm doing this as a contour drawing is that I'm going to inevitably take it into a fully rendered state by shadowing it later on. Some of the benefits to doing contour line drawing, more so than sketching loosely, is that you're able to tighten this up really quickly. You do have to have a pretty good understanding of where your lines are going to be. But again, that all comes down to practice and study. Right now I'm putting in some indication lines and details, which inevitably will be shadowed. Some of them will be lost or kind of blend in, and some of them will be the guidelines that I'll be using when I shadow. Just finishing up the last little bit here on the other wing. I'll be showing you a complete image without any of the corners getting cut off, as you might see here. And you'll see what the final piece is going to look like as a line drawing. And then I want you to check in with our part 2, and you'll be able to see the process of fully rendering. So there you have it. There is the complete contour line drawing of the dragon. Hope you've enjoyed it, and thanks for your time.